Hi there, this is Sandra from the Schwowin's Nest. Welcome to my Holly Jolly Christmas series. My first project is using these adorable wood cutouts from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint both sides of them white with chalk paint. While the snowmen are drying, I'm going to make their little hats. I have these little pieces of wood that are a garden stake. They're really thin wood, and I'm going to take my miter shears and cut a few pieces to make the brim of the hat and then the top of the hat. I'm going to take one of the pieces and cut it in half horizontally, and that will make the brim of the hat. I'm going to use hot glue to glue them together with a little piece of wood as a brace. Jumbo popsicle sticks would also work very well for this little hat. Now that I have it glued all together, I'm going to give it one coat of black paint just on the front for now. Using some hot glue, I'm just going to put a bead along the back where it's not painted and place it on a little bit of an angle right on the snowman's head. Now I'll finish painting up the back, and I'm also going to give it a couple more coats of white paint as well. I want that engraving on the back to disappear, and with chalk paint you can put quite a thick amount in and it will fill it up. I'm going to use some thin buffalo check ribbon to make him a scarf. I'm just going to fold it over a couple of times and then add a couple of tails. This year I'm adding little pops of red using these pipberry garlands from the Dollar Tree. I love them. They're so adorable, and I'm just going to put one strand around the front of the snowman. I wanted him to have some dimensional buttons, so I'm using these tacks. I'm going to cut off the stem and hot glue them on. If you don't have tacks, you could use buttons or snowflakes or pom-poms, whatever you have in your stash. Now I'm going to draw in his eyes, and I'm just going to draw a circle and then fill it in 3/4 of the way to leave a little bit of white space on the top. For his little mouth, I'm just giving him a cute little smile, and I'm going to use one of the little red pip berries for a nose. Then I added a couple of holly leaves and a jingle bell to his hat. Using a chip brush and a little bit of white paint, I'm just going to distress his hat, and then I'm going to use black paint to distress his body. I'm going to use some of the buffalo check ribbon and glue it on the back of his hat to use as a hanger for the tree. DIY number 2 is using this Dollar Tree windmill sign. I'm going to cover up the welcome using a piece of shim that I got at the Home Depot in a pack of 40. I'm just going to mark off where I need to cut and then use my miter shears. These contractor shims are raw wood, and since I want to write on them with my marker or oil-based pen, I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge on the top of it. That's going to prevent any bleeding from happening with my letters when I go to put them on. So just one thin coat, just make sure everything is covered, and then let it dry completely. I found the blades of the windmill a little too dark, so I'm taking this chip brush and dabbing it into some white paint, and I'm just going to pounce all over the blades, give it more of a dimensional look, more of a galvanized look, but also maybe just to add a little touch of snow. The wood piece is dry, so I'm going to just add it onto the welcome sign with some hot glue. This is the Dollar Tree pip garland that comes in a 9-foot length. I'm going to use this to embellish the windmill. I'm going to cut pieces of the garland that have 2 or 3 of the pip berries, and then I'm going to just hot glue them underneath the blade that is sticking up, and then just let it lay on top of the blade that isn't. I'm going to continue that all the way around the windmill. Using my favorite scrapbooking marker, I'm just going to freehand the words Holly Jolly. I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment to the letters and then add some holly and a couple of berries to it as well. The last thing to do is just glue down one of the blades so the windmill doesn't spin, because then I'm going to be able to just hang it very easily onto the tree. DIY number 3 is a little red truck pallet sign. I got these mini pallets from Amazon, and if I can find them, I'll put the link down in my description box. I'm going to give it just one coat of white chalk paint. Of course, the tree is going to get a coat of red paint, and you'll see me painting the star green too. Not sure what possessed me there, but I'll fix it later. I'm going to take some black and then do as good a circle as I can for the tires, and then I'll paint the body red. The color I'm using here is Deco Art Chalky Finish, and it's the color Romance. Using the paintbrush that I used for the black, I'm going to just add a little bit of detail. I'm also going to add a little bit of distressing and detail to the tree. To fix up the star that I accidentally painted green, I'm going to take a little piece of Dollar Tree cookie sheet, trace around the star, cut it out, and just glue it on top. I'm going to hot glue the truck right in the center of the pallet because I want to leave one pallet available at the top and at the bottom. Using my favorite marker, which has a double end, it's thicker on one end and thinner on the other. I'm just going to write in Farm Fresh at the top and Christmas trees at the bottom. Very simple font. I'm not doing anything fancy with this. I probably will just thicken it up a little bit so you can see it better. The last thing I'm going to do is take my chip brush again, a little bit of black paint, and then distress around the edges and across the white space so it's not so clean and fresh looking. I want it to look a little bit vintage. I'm also giving this guy a buffalo check hanger. This next Dollar Tree DIY is super simple. I've got some of their frosted pine cones and some Dollar Tree jingle bells, and I'm literally just going to hot glue them together in a circle. The only thing you need is a little bit of time and some patience because you've got to use quite a bit of hot glue and then hold the two pieces together until the glue sets. I also blew on them a little bit just to make the process a little bit faster. For a hanger, I decided to use some of this jute twine, and I'm going to feed it into two of the jingle bells at the top and then hot glue them in place. This last project is using one of these star wood shapes from Michaels. My Dollar Tree didn't have the wood ones this year, so I went to Michaels and I found a 5-pack for $1.50. Wasn't too bad. I'm also now using a piece of cardboard, and I'm going to trace out a shape of a larger star using the small wood star as a template and a reference. This cardboard piece is about 1/4 inch thick, so I'm going to use my utility knife to cut it out. Using a dollar store aluminum cookie sheet, I'm going to trace the star all the way around. You can use scissors or a utility knife to cut these out. They're very thin. What I'm doing too is making sure that I have about an extra 1/4 inch in the star. I want it to be a little bit bigger so I can fold over the edges. I like to smooth out all of the edges of these cookie sheets, and what's happening here is I'm getting some scratches in there, which is totally fine because I think it's going to add to the texture and distressing of this piece. I'm also using the back end of my little razor that I got from the Dollar Tree. Using some hot glue, I'm just going to glue it onto the star. Just please be very careful when you're using hot glue and anything aluminum or metal because it does get very hot. I'm going to trim in each of the joints of the star so I can easily just fold up the aluminum and glue it onto the cardboard. I'm tracing out the wood star onto this black and white buffalo check fabric from the Dollar Tree, but when I cut it out, I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch extra around the edge as well. I'm going to do the same technique that I did on the aluminum star. I'm just going to trim the edges at the joints and then fold it up and hot glue it in place. Then I'm going to hot glue the small star onto the big star, making sure that I have the fabric pointing the right way and that I get it right in the center. This guy is also going to get a buffalo check hanger. I hope you enjoyed this video today and got some inspiration to create some of your own ornaments this year. If you like what you saw, I'd love for you to stick around. Hit that subscribe button. Those two black arrows will show you exactly where to click. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.